What's going on, guys? So since the filming of this video, I've put over 1,000 miles on our new 2024 F450 Platinum, and I really love the truck. One of the first upgrades that I did, which actually it really wasn't one of the first, it was probably like the fourth upgrade I did, was to replace the front cloth mats with these WeatherTech mats that my channel sponsor eTrailer provided me for review and evaluation in this truck. Now, I really didn't need to do a review evaluation thing with them because I've used WeatherTech mats before. I've used Husky liner mats before. I've used a lot of different mats, even including some of the cheap generic Amazon mats, just to see how well they worked. And honestly, I thought the cheap generic Amazon ones that are still custom molded to your vehicle, they worked really well, but they stunk. I mean, they smelled like cat urine. So if you didn't see that video, go back and check it out. We tried them in the new Denali when we got it, and I had to get them out of there because my wife couldn't stand being in the truck because they smelled so bad. And they were brand new, wrapped in plastic when we got them. No cat had a time or had an opportunity to urinate on them. But today we're going to talk about Ford mats. We're going to talk about mats that a lot of folks often say, why get this stuff, this WeatherTech stuff that costs too much? Why get it when you can get the Ford mats that are superior in every way? Well, let's take a look at the mats you can get from Ford. Hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, so these mats were purchased. I did not get these sent to me. They were not sponsored. Well, technically they were mailed to me because I ordered them from Ford's website, their accessory website. I had like $20 worth of Ford credits or points because of oil changes and things like that. The mats were normally like $180 for the front and rear mats for a Super Crew or Crew Cab truck, and I got a little bit of a discount off of that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, after shipping and handling everything, it still cost me about $175 to get these mats in. And I paid for these for the sole purpose of comparing them to the WeatherTech mats. And are WeatherTech mats truly worth buying, considering they're going to cost just as much and in some cases even more than these Ford mats? After looking at them, I can tell you there are some very, very distinct differences that definitely give WeatherTech an advantage over the factory mats, even though, I'm going to be honest with you, I like the factory mats. I think they look fantastic. They certainly will blend with the truck a little better from a branding perspective because they say Super Duty on them. But let me kind of give you a side-by-side comparison between two mats that you obviously are going to want to know more about. Let's look at the driver's side mat from WeatherTech and the driver's side mat from Ford. Now, right off the bat, you can tell that the WeatherTech mat covers a significantly larger area. It absolutely does. To give you a better example of that, right there. That is a significant difference, especially where your feet might normally have dirt. You can see that it's covering a much larger area or footprint than the Super Duty mat. Also, its ability to capture that so you can get it out of the vehicle is better. Now, some people said that the WeatherTech mats felt cheap compared to the Super Duty mats or the Ford mats. I would honestly say it's the other way around. These mats look great, again, because they say Super Duty. If you get these in your vehicle, I don't necessarily think you would need to move to something like this, but look at the containment area in this one. I could probably spill a 2-liter drink inside of here and it would contain all of it. This one, on the other hand, would end up actually pouring some of it off of the back. It would contain a bit of it, but the holes right here, which plug into the floor of the truck with the little grommets, are covered on here, but they're exposed right here, which means if any liquid made it above this lip, it would get right through this area onto the floor of your truck. Now, I'm not knocking this and saying it's a bad mat, but if you're going to remove it with liquid on it, you can see it's super flexible. This probably weighs half as much as this mat. So from a material quality perspective, I don't know how anybody could make the claim that the Super Duty mat is a higher quality mat than the WeatherTech mat, because it's just not true. You know, it's a softer rubber, which some people may like, but this is actually a really nice soft rubber as well. It's not a hard plastic like some people think. It feels like it's softer than the WeatherTech mats I've tested in the past. But also, WeatherTech's not the only brand that competes very well in this space. Husky liner is also an outstanding value. Now, I don't have Husky liner mats for my truck, except for the back. And this one was because I wanted to see how it kind of compared overall. And I can tell you that the Husky liner mat has a bit more of a plastic feel to it. It's less rubbery, which is interesting because the Husky liners that I had in my white F450 from 2016 felt more rubbery. They actually felt more like the Super Duty mats. And these definitely feel more plasticky, but the containment area is huge, and it's got a great area to contain anything you might spill. Plus, you can see how it overlaps the side a lot. The Ford mat is just flat, so if you spill anything down the side, it's not really going to contain it. And again, when we do an overlay comparison, you can see right there just how much more area the Husky liner covers than the Super Duty mat. So I was actually expecting a little bit more from the Super Duty mats when they came in. I like the way they look. I like how they say Super Duty. I like how they still feel like a high quality mat, but they do not feel at the same level as WeatherTech. I went into this hoping that I would go to the Super Duty mat because of the fact it's branded with the truck. It looks really nice, but look at what you're giving up. This is perfectly conformed to the truck. It matches every contour of the truck. And look at the containment area of it. Look at how it's designed. Again, I can remove this whole thing, you'd probably with two hands, of course, and it doesn't collapse. If I try to do that with this, there's no way to do that. This is a much softer material. They both still feel very rubbery in terms of texture, but I got to give it to WeatherTech. It feels like a superior product in my opinion. If it said Super Duty right there, that would be fantastic. I do like the look and the design a little better of the Super Duty, but just look again, look what you're giving up if you go to the Super Duty mat over the WeatherTech. Much, much better overall, and this is very similar to the Husky liner. The Husky liner has more of a ribbed design throughout the whole thing. I believe, you know, honestly, I thought it was going to be more rubberized than this one, but WeatherTech has done a great job with their mats being as weatherized as they are. And again, I kind of got these with the intention of putting them in, actually seeing if it would be a better performing mat, but in my opinion, you can just look at the two. If I put this in, and I have really, really dirty boots on, this is not going to contain much of it, especially up here. It's still going to get the carpet really, really dirty inside of the truck, whereas this one contains just about everything, even up and behind the pedals, which is really nice, and off to the side, and off of the back. Again, the easiest way to look at that is to simply put one over the other and just see how big of a difference that extra coverage makes. What do you guys think? I'd love your feedback, love your opinion on these. Again, I bought these mats mainly because people were saying you should have gotten the Ford mats, they're better. I don't agree. I don't agree in any sense. I know people are going to say that WeatherTech, they'll curl, they're going to deform, things like that. And if they start to do that, I'll share that with you. But overall, at this point, I'd have to say that the WeatherTech, just by construction, design, engineering, and fit and size, is probably the better product. And I would still upgrade. If I got these that came in the truck, I would still upgrade to this knowing how much more area it's going to cover, knowing how much more protection and containment I'm going to get. But what are your thoughts? If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.